Hello and welcome to this GryphonArt workshop, which is one of a series of workshops designed to provide an introduction to some card folding tools. These workshops are really intended for those individuals who are new to papercraft and would like to have some idea of the equipment that they might need. I'm going to start with a scoring board, which is actually not essential as I will illustrate later, but it is certainly a great help if you are making lots of boxes or craft items that require straight line scores. The board that I am using for the purposes of this video is actually a Martha Stewart board, which is quite big and consequently difficult to get the whole item in the frame without losing detail. But I think that together with the photograph provided at the beginning of this video, you will get a reasonable idea of what it is all about. This particular board has a score area of 12.5 inches square and has straight line grooves at 1/8 of an inch intervals, which you should be able to see there. There are units of measurement across the top and down the left hand side. Although to date I have to say I have only used the top measurements. The board also has a built-in compartment enclosing a plastic paper creaser, which is specifically designed to work with the board. One of the main benefits of using this board over the alternative that I'm going to show you later is the presence of this right angle wall here. This means that you can push your card or paper into the corner and be reasonably sure that it is not going to move. Also, you will see immediately if your card is not quite square. So how does it work? If I'm going to make a 2-inch square milk carton style box, such as this one here, I know that I start with a piece of A5 card in landscape, and the first set of fold lines needs to be at 2-inch intervals. So at 2, 4, 6 and 8 inches. This is so easy to see on this board. I have my card ready in place. I can see that it is sitting square. All I need to do is hold it in place and look for my measurement intervals across the top. The groove continues into the wall at the top here, so I can place my paper creaser into that groove at the 2-inch point as required by my box and just drag it backwards with a downward force across the depth of the card. I'll just go over that again. I can quickly repeat that for the remaining fold lines. So 4, 6 and 8 inches, which just leaves this little tiny flap for putting the box together. Job done. Very quick and easy process to create definite score lines, as I hope you can see. I'll just fold one of these over actually so that you can see how easily the fold forms. There you go. Right, now before I move on to the less expensive equivalent for this task, I just want to show you that this particular board also comes with a very handy envelope guide, which is cleverly tucked into the bottom edge of the board. So as long as you always put it back, you won't lose it. I'll just get that out for you to see. I hope you can see. So there you go. And that just slots into the corner of the board there. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I will probably create a specific tutorial for making envelopes. But basically what this allows you to do is to create straight lines that are not parallel to the edge of your paper. When you are making an envelope, you need to create diagonal lines which cut across the right angles of your card or paper, as you can see here. By placing the envelope guide on your scoreboard, you can see that a new wall is created, which allows you to rotate your card or paper by 45 degrees instead of 90. That then changes the direction of your score lines and enables you to put these diagonal score lines in place. One thing to note is that the measurements have been included along the edge of the guide so that you can clearly identify the point at which you need to make your score line. I'll just bring that back up for you so that you can have a closer look. Okay, so that's diagonal lines covered, which may not always be a requirement, but I just wanted to make you aware that some boards had this additional feature, because if you intend to do a lot of scoring and consequently feel it is worth investing in a scoring board, then it might just be worth taking this feature into consideration when looking for a scoring board that most appropriately responds to your needs. Okay then, next section of this video will be about the alternative to the scoring board. So what do you do if you don't have a scoring board? Even if you are new to paper crafts, it is possible, as was certainly the case with myself, that other crafts have already led you to invest in a self-heal mat, which when used with a paper creaser or bone folder and a ruler is a very adequate and effective alternative to a scoring board. You can obtain the same quality results using a self-heal mat and ruler, with the only real downside being that the process is not as quick. I am not going to go into too much detail regarding self-heal mats, as this will be covered in a separate video, but in case you haven't come across them before, they are basically flexible mats occurring in various sizes, usually with a measuring grid occurring on at least one side. As you can see with this A3 Fiskars mat, there are inches marked on one side of the mat, and if I can just turn it over, you've got centimetres on the other side. For this video, I need to use inches. If I place the scoring board I used in the first part of this video over the top of the self-heal mat, that way a bit, I hope you can begin to see some similarities. We have inches on our self-heal mat, and we have inches on our scoring board. We have 1/8 of an inch divisions on our self-heal mat, and we have 1/8 of an inch grooves on our scoring board. So let's just remove the scoring board so that you can see how we might apply the same principles using this alternative method. If I take the card that I scored earlier using the scoring board and place it on the edge of the grid on the self-heal mat, taking time to line it up with the grid edge, you can see that the score lines are at 2, 4, 6 and 8 inches. If we line the card up using two sets of grid lines at right angles to each other, we can also test whether the card is square. So what about scoring? If I wish to score this card when it's in portrait mode at 1 7/8 of an inch, I just need to line the card up so that I know that I'm scoring at the right point. So let's just do that. So I have now turned my card and positioned it in such a way that I can see the measurements at both the top of my mat and the bottom of my mat. I'm just going to turn my mat so that you can see what I mean. I think that's just about in. Okay, I can now use my ruler to help hold the card in place ready for scoring. I then place my bone folder on the desired measurement point at 1 7/8 of an inch and bring my ruler to it, top and bottom, before drawing the bone folder backwards to create my score line. I tend to go over this a couple of times just to reinforce the line. Just as a pointer, the reason why I bring the ruler to the bone folder is because if I line the ruler up with a grid mark, the width of the bone folder would mean that the score would actually be made to the right of the intended measurement. So do bear that in mind. Okay, so I can now show you the fold line a little closer and demonstrate how easily the fold forms. So there you are. If you don't have a scoring board, but you do have a self-heal mat, you can still make your boxes and other paper projects and invest in a scoring board later when you are certain that you will get the use out of it. I hope that this video has been of some help to you, and thank you very much for taking the time to watch it.